In this episode, we love to be by the seaside as we continue the search for the best diners and roadside stops at the Jersey Shore. Hi everyone, I'm Elyse Explosion and welcome back to the Jersey Diner Challenge. When we last left our heroes, we had just tackled 7 diners in one weekend for the North Jersey Challenge. This time, we're taking it a little easier and taking on the 4 diners of the Jersey Shore region, Monmouth, Ocean, Atlantic, and Cape May counties. If you're new around here, you can check out the previous videos in the series right here. But for a quick recap, we divided the state into 4 regions: North, Central, South, and Shore. One diner from each county was selected based on local notoriety, word of mouth, Guy Fieri appearances, and online review scores. Each diner is scored out of 20, with up to 5 points being given for food, ambiance, cost, and bonus, which is a combination of dessert, service, or anything else that we just can't fit into any other category. On that note, let's get this rainy trip started with our first stop, the Blue Swan Diner. The Blue Swan is absolutely a sentimental favorite for us. I lived in Monmouth County for 10 years, having only recently moved away, and this was one of the last restaurants we visited before we left. I've always had an affinity for their unique breakfasts, but have had some difficulty in the past with strange choices made for their more savory lunch and dinner options. Why would you season my chicken cheesesteak with Italian seasoning? Regardless, despite the absolutely miserable weather, it was good to see. The Blue Swan isn't the most aesthetically pleasing of all diners, but it is friendly and cozy. It's a cross between a more neon style and a Mediterranean style. And one thing I've realized since starting this endeavor is that the more Mediterranean style diners just do not visually appeal to me at all. After being seated, Michael ordered a tuna melt with fries, and I ordered my beloved angel pancakes, which the menu describes as such. Our signature pancakes filled with creamy farina custard, topped with crispy phyllo dough, powdered sugar, and cinnamon served with our homemade lemon zest syrup. I admit my bias on this. It is my absolute favorite, and I am definitely inclined to like this. And as expected, I did. It is so unique and interesting. The farina custard is totally unlike anything I've ever had in a breakfast, and the crispy phyllo is a fun addition. I wasn't feeling the lemon syrup today, so thankfully our server brought me regular pancake syrup too.
Been a while.
It has been a very long time.
Make sure you get all the custard. No.
Unfortunately, Michael's tuna melt was a total bust. It wasn't dry, but there definitely wasn't enough mayo, and it was very bland.
You gotta.
Yeah, it's rather large.
That is significant.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Just okay.
Yeah.
For dessert, the menu mentioned that their cheesecake was famous, so we had to go with that. It had a really soft and fluffy texture, but with almost no tang to it. It was quite nice, and definitely one of the more unique cheesecake offerings we'd gotten.
Oh.
Yes, it does look yellow. I don't know if that's good or bad.
We'll find out.
It's a good and creamy cheesecake.
Ooh.
There we are.
Ooh, that's soft.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Nice big piece.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's nice. It's not tangy.
No.
That's pretty good. Final scores. Food, 3.5. Ambiance, 3.5. Cost, 3. Bonus, 4, for a total of 14 out of 20. We decided to brave the elements once more on our way to the next roadside stop, Jenkinsons Aquarium in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. No Mothman in this Point Pleasant, just a lovely little boardwalk with an extremely cute aquarium. Jenks has long been a favorite of mine since I was a little kid, opening in 1991. I was bereft to learn that their longtime resident, Lucille the Harbor Seal, passed away late last year, but I'd learned that they had welcomed a new rescue, Baby Turbo. Turbo had a flipper amputated after sustaining an infection and was deemed unsafe to return to the wild. The first thing I noticed was that they'd recently done some refurbishments, and the next thing I noticed were the sharks and rays. This was always one of my favorite exhibits, and I can spend a ton of time just staring at them. But then, We rounded the corner, and there she was. Turbo, the baby of the world. Just look at her. Look at her! She is so sweet and playful, and I love her already. Her tank mate Nolani was rescued from the same rehab facility in 2018, and they're just such a good match. I digress. There were penguins and fish and horseshoe crabs and turbo and sloths and sharks and turbo and hang on, are those axolotls? I spent like 10 minutes just looking at these little guys. You know how I am about them. I am so about those that I bought a little guy at the gift shop and he kept us company for the rest of the trip. We loaded up and headed down to our motel, which smelled strongly of cigarette smoke but had the most comfortable bed I'd ever slept in, and waited a bit until it was time for dinner and our next stop. It was a fairly short drive down to Atlantic County and Hamilton's Silver Coin Diner. We had originally hoped to visit Mustache Bill's in Barnegat, but sadly the restaurant closed this past winter after 52 years in operation. The Silver Coin? Wow. This was quite possibly the flashiest, most neon, most chrome diner we visited. The menu was substantial and had a lot of very interesting options. We were seated and the first thing we noticed was this adorable little blueberry mural in the middle of the dining room ceiling. Very cute. Hamilton is known for their blueberries, and at one point New Jersey produced the third most blueberries in the entire United States. So it made sense to pay tribute to them. As such, Michael ordered a blueberry waffle with pork roll, and I ordered the special chicken Alfredo pasta with a side salad. We also ordered an appetizer that did not count towards the score, but I will say that their mac and cheese bites was definitely just deep-fried Kraft Mac. My salad was nice and refreshing, and Michael's waffle had a nice vanilla flavor with fresh sweet berries.
Good.
My pasta, though, was another story. It desperately needed salt or cheese or something more savory involved. It just tasted like plain cream.
Get a piece of the chicken in there, too.
No. Chicken's nice. Needs salt.
Ah, okay.
Wow. The most disappointing part was the sheer overpowering raw garlic taste. The garlic had the same texture as the peas, and biting down on them when you didn't know what was really unpleasant. Don't get me wrong, I love garlic, and a lot of garlic, but this was just not the way. On top of that, when Michael ate my leftovers the following Monday, he got sick. On top of that, I had made a silly comment when we were paying at the register about needing a mint due to all the garlic, and the man taking our money was so incensed that he felt the need to defend all of the raw garlic, saying that some dishes just need it that way. Sorry, man. Nah, that's not how it works. For dessert, we got a peanut butter pie, which seemed to have all the tang the cheesecake from the Blue Swan didn't have. It was nice, but I think Michael seemed to enjoy it more than me. Final score. Food, 2.5. Ambiance, 4.5. Cost, 4. Bonus, 4. For a final score of 15 out of 20, which is frankly higher than I think it deserves. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Or the garlic overpowers. We returned to our hotel to rest, recuperate, play a little bit of remote Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and avoid the cigarette smoke as best we could. The next morning we awoke to see that the storm had subsided and it was a lovely sunny day. The boys were back in town as we headed down to Dinos Diner, located in Seaville in Cape May County, and yes, I did have Thin Lizzy running through my head the entire time. Dinos is a fairly unassuming little diner with an extremely classic feel with modern touches. There were a lot of nods to Dino himself, who passed in 2008, but really felt like a cornerstone of the community. Reading on their website, they even have a charity in his name that gives money to local children requiring medical assistance. The man was well loved, and it still comes through all these years later. Unfortunately, we seem to have gotten there a little too early for the all-day menu, so we both ordered from the breakfast menu. Michael got the crunchy French toast, which appeared to be coated with Captain Crunch cereal. Hoping for redemption yet again, I opted for the biscuits and gravy with a side of hash browns. Michael's French toast was easily the best breakfast either of us had had this entire trip. It was crunchy, creamy, and absolutely spectacular.
All right, Michael is sauced up.
Crunchy.
Ooh, that looks good.
It's
nice
good.
And fluffy.
Yeah, it's crunchy, but still fluffy. Important. That's good.
Yeah.
Definitely a new experience. The crunch.
My biscuits and gravy were pretty classic, but amped up. The gravy was creamy, the biscuits were fluffy and rich, and the hash browns were super crispy. For starters, that's breakfast sausage.
A noted improvement, but you do have to get the biscuit.
Finding it.
Good. All right.
That's good.
Our dessert was a slice of carrot cake, which I think might just be a mistake on my behalf since I don't like raisins. It felt a little dry, but we also had to wait a full day to taste it, so we'll chalk that up to potential user error. Final score. Food, 4. Ambiance, 4. Cost, 4.5. Bonus, 3.5, for a total of 16 out of 20. The beautiful sunny day paved the way for our next stop, a trip to Margate and the one and only Lucy the Elephant. Lucy is the world's oldest roadside attraction, having been built in 1882. Lucy had recently been repainted and refurbished, and we bought tickets for the full tour. While we waited, we detoured straight to the ocean, which makes sense for a Jersey Shore tour. How could we do the shore region without seeing the water? Heresy. During the tour, I learned a lot about the history of Lucy herself. For one, she was never a hotel, though one summer she was rented out to an English doctor and his family as a summer home. In addition, after falling into disrepair by the 60s, a group of locals fundraised enough money to have her moved and refurbished, and she was transported over the course of 7 hours, approximately 2 blocks away from her original location. Lucy is a true icon of the Jersey Shore, and I'm so happy we finally got to see the whole structure. We even got to stand on her palanquin and see the surrounding area and get some photos. It could not have been a more beautiful day. After our adventure with Lucy, we got stuck in a bit of traffic going northbound and slowly made our way to the Sandcastle Diner in Ocean County. The Sandcastle opened in 1988 and has been a landmark in the area. I mean, look, they even have a dinosaur. The diner itself is honestly pretty plain. The walls were all white and very clean and decorated with what seemed like local photography, but it was definitely more sterile than anywhere else we'd been. Kinda rental apartment vibes. The menu was simple, but had a host of favorites. Michael ordered himself a pork roll sandwich, weirdly called Taylor ham this far south, with hash browns, and I ordered buffalo chicken wrap with fries. Michael's breakfast sandwich was served on a nice soft roll, and the meat was grilled, though despite requests it was both served with egg and we were charged for that as well. The home fries were just okay. My buffalo chicken sandwich, man, I seem to be striking out a lot with buffalo flavored things on this trip. For starters, there was no buffalo or blue cheese taste.
There you go. Good.
Nice looking hard roll.
Good.
Cool.
And it was basically just a couple chicken tenders and a tortilla. On top of that, it was so small that Michael asked if I'd gotten a children's portion. It tasted okay, but it didn't really match the description. When we went to order dessert, the waitress initially suggested that we order the cheesecake, which they bring in from a bakery up in North Jersey. This felt kind of contrary to the spirit of the trip, so we ordered a slice of fudgy chocolate cake. The cake was very fudgy, and it was pretty tasty, though I'm still not sure if they do any in-house baking or not. It was an interesting little place, but definitely not a showstopper. Final score. Food, 3. Ambiance, 3. Cost, 3. Bonus, 3. For a total of 12 out of 20. And now the total scores. Blue Swan Diner, 14 out of 20. Silver Coin Diner, 15 out of 20. Dinos Seaville Diner, 16 out of 20. Sandcastle Diner, 12 out of 20. With a total score of 16 out of 20, the winner of the Shore Division is Dinos Seaville Diner. Congratulations to Dinos. It joins the Maurice River Diner, Johnny Prince's famous Bayway Diner, and the Pumpkin Queen Diner in our final 4. Join us next time as we revisit all 4 diners with some new metrics to crown the true champion best diner in New Jersey. We'll see you then.